Hello, everyone. Welcome to NUFC Talk TV live once again on a Monday night, on a Monday afternoon here in the U.S. We got the mighty win. We got Boki. We got Tim on the panel tonight. Boy, I expect it to be a hot one tonight. I expect it to be a spicy one. What happened to Boki and Tim? They both. What's going on? There we go. Now we're good. Anyway, there they are. Eddie Howe's Alexander Isak confession from Craig Hope. We're going to dive into that. That's the main topic tonight. So stay tuned. Don't forget to smash the like button right now. Hit the like button for us. Please help us out. And you can super chat right away to get your comments out there, of course. And become a member if you're not already. You can give memberships away if you're a member. So stay tuned. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. And again, hit the like button. So I want to get with, first of all, Boki's and Tim's first takes on the Bournemouth massacre, that on the Bournemouth, doomsday, on the Bournemouth downfall, basically, or shall we just call it Bourfest? That's what it was, really. A lack of creativity, attack, lack of everything, really. But that's exactly what the manager wanted. So really, he did. It was a masterclass for Eddie Howe this weekend. He did an amazing. He did exactly what he wanted to do. Bore fans to death by the lineup, not to lose. We didn't lose. So to me, Eddie Howe did exactly what he wanted to do. So as far as that's concerned, Eddie Howe, 10 out of 10, because he did exactly what he went there to achieve. So, but is that enough for Newcastle fans is the question. Boki, let me get your take on the game, brother. I know Win wanted to get you to talk before the show starts, but what's the point of having a show then? If we can't, we gotta wait until people want to listen to what Boki has to say. Local Jordy, because local Jordy's opinion is the only one that matters in Newcastle. So we want to hear from Boki. Boki, tell us, man, what do you make of the game?
Disappointing, really disappointing. The first point I want to make is, why did he drop us? Why did he drop Waldemar for the Barcelona game if he knew he was going to go so defensive in that game? If he was going to go out for a point against Bournemouth, why not play Waldemar against Barcelona and take him out of that game? But also, the lineup was just... He seems to have this thing in his head now that he's going five at the back whenever we play away from home, which is so negative, especially when we need 3 points. The game itself was, it was a poor game, and you're always going to get them. And I know there's been points made around the rotation of players. I've got no problem with the rotation of players. We've all been calling out for that, especially with the amount of games that we're going to be playing. However, why change system? You've got a squad of players who are used to playing a system. Everybody in that squad knows how we play. And then he goes out with new players in a team and changes the system, which is just going to confuse them. Fair enough, as I say, rotate players, but don't change the system for them new players to come into.
Yeah. I actually agree with you 100%, but we're gonna dive deeper into the conversation of what happened yesterday and what's to come, and current news, of course. Tim, what did you make of the game over the weekend? What do you think?
In regards to the system, I don't think that necessarily impacted us in a negative way, in that stopped us from scoring, because obviously we were blunt going forward. That was the problem. Yes, in the final third, we didn't have that creativity. We didn't have that final shot, that final pass to test the keeper and to create clear chances. But I don't think it was necessarily the formation, because you've got the striker, you've got the two wingers either side, and with the wing backs, it's not about on paper. It's about how you implement the system. So that if the wing backs go forward and can overlap and double up, you've got the men forward there to create the chances, while having that solid base at the back with the three centre halves. So personally, I think I actually don't mind him changing the system, because it shows a bit of flexibility. and adapting to different games. I don't mind that much. And like you say, we have needed to rotate, and I was pleased that he did that more than I thought he would. But as much as we want Bruno and Jordan to play, they absolutely needed to be rested, and it should have happened before now, because 68 games was too long, I think, for Bruno. But I was pleased to see that happen. I just think the problem really is the players not necessarily trying to adapt to a new system, but more adapting to a new striker in Valdemira, and how to kind of create him chances and how to work the system, maybe, or work that front three with him, in terms of we need more runners in behind with him coming deep. And that was different with Isak, where he would be able to go in behind. So I think the problem is more working out how we can create more openings, in the final third with the new strikers we have, rather than necessarily this system away from home anyway. Because we had control. I thought for a lot of the game, we actually were able to grasp control of that game, unlike in the past where it's been a basketball game, and every time Bournemouth went forward, we've looked like conceding. Whereas with here, I thought, well, actually, we are in control of this. We just need to have that cutting edge in the final third, which we never had, which goes back to kind of what I've said there.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I mean, I don't think we dominated that game. I mean, Bournemouth had. I'm trying to see the possession, but I know they had more. There's no
We
way
didn't dominate,
it's
Chris,
zero
but I
up.
just think like we were
So
more in control,
44. I don't see that. 44% Newcastle United possession versus 56% for Bournemouth. I just do not see. The game plan failed miserably, in my opinion. But it's a pattern, like Boki was saying. Why away do we have to change like that? What does that have to do with resting? I mean, you want to rest players. Why do you have to change the formation so drastically? Why did Burn didn't get arrested, but Bruno did? So how does that work? If you actually in the area.
Yeah. I wouldn't have been averse to resting Ben, because he's another one who needs to, like you say, he needs to have a rest like Bruno, because he seems to play every game as great as he's been. But I just think, even though the possession tells, yes, that's on paper, the possession says that, but in the past, when we played Bournemouth, they have looked like scoring when they went forward a lot. Whereas in this game, I don't think they really looked like scoring that. Neither team looked like scoring much. That's not obviously,
Right.
Again, that's the problem, is the final third. But I just thought we looked solid enough. We had a base there to go from, in terms of being tough to break down and conceding chances. We didn't really concede many chances, but we were just a blunt edge going forward.
Yeah. So the biggest question, especially for tonight, is because after so-called admission by Eddie Howe, we're gonna get to that. I don't think it's an admission really, or maybe it could be, because he's saying that we need to now change the way we attack, because we don't have Isak. He mentioned Alexander twice, and he mentioned his name and said that we have to change now that he's gone, and adapt to Voldemar. I don't understand. First of all, I don't understand it. We have to change what for Voldemar? He's a center forward. What do we have to change? I want to know. I want Mighty Wayne to enlighten me, because you're the smart person here. So I want you to enlighten me on what needs to be changed.
You finally come to that recognition.
So I want you to enlighten everybody in the chat and let us know what do we need to change. So putting 3 center backs, that changes. We have to adapt to Voldemar. I need help understanding, because one shot on target for Newcastle United yesterday, and I want to know what's going on.
Of any league game in the Prem. Combined XG of 0.6, 0.46 for Bournemouth, 0.14 for Newcastle.
Yeah, rubbish. So I'm trying to understand here what we got going on, and why life after Alexander Isak, is this Daily Mail article writes, is proving difficult for Eddie Howe, and how he wants his side to evolve after 3 goalless stalemates. So why is life after Isak so difficult?
Maybe Eddie thinks that it's going to take time to adapt our offensive play to accommodate Voldemort, because he's a different player altogether to what Isak was.
I don't
And
see
so,
that.
if it's going to take time to adapt our attacking prowess, then the one thing we've got to make sure of is that we're more solid defensively.
What does that have to do?
It ain't going to
so,
happen over. Even though, by the way, he's scored in every other game so far.
So you are in agreement then, because now we got to put 3 center backs to make Voldemort score. I want to know the correlation. I want to know how.
I think it depends on the opposition. No, I don't think I'm putting 3
depends on the
centre backs
opposition.
in to help
You're really
Voldemort
gonna
score. You're putting 3 centre backs in to make sure that we don't concede. Job done.
But then you're taking away the fact, when in that case, of giving Baltimore the chance to having people to set him up 4 goals. And I don't think all the pressure should be put on Baltimore to score. We've got other players in that team. You've got the two. We're playing two wingers who should be scoring goals. Our midfield don't score enough goals. There doesn't seem to be goals in the team. And that's not the strikers' fault.
That has historically been our problem.
So why wasn't that sorted over the transfer window?
Are you kidding me or what?
Well, no, because this is the best squad
Well,
we've ever had.
It was sorted to all intents and purposes, but we've ended up without Wissa at all.
That's fine. Wissa's irrelevant right now.
And we didn't get Voldemort until the 4th game.
So we made the squad better, according to you and many others, and I do agree. We agree that the squad is better, so we should be playing better. Why every season does it have to be? Why does every season need to be a reset? Why does every season need to be weight in progress?
Been a reset because it hasn't needed to be a reset.
Last season was the same.
When we only had 3 players out this weekend, if this is the best squad and we can't manage to win a game with 3 players out,
that's exactly my point.
It just so happens that one of them is the striker.
But Voldemort is a striker as well.
But Voldemort is a striker. Yeah, the most expensive one that we've ever bought.
Yeah, and he's going to have to.
So what are you talking about?
It's not going to click automatically. It never does.
Yeah, but okay. So take Voldemort out. Take Voldemort out. How many chances did we create that he bottled because he's not accustomed to the Premier League? How many chances? The team should be clicking.
Any chances? The XG.
So what? Did the whole team come from Stuttgart? No, they've been playing together. So what's going on?
A lot of the team didn't, as has been the case a lot of the season. The team is not, individually, the team is not performing to that top levels. And that's apparent to anybody.
So whose fault's that win?
Well, it's the players' fault, isn't it?
No, listen, man. So Tim, anything that actually it's when you stole this from me your last season, I'm going to teach you. I'm going to remind you of this again, of this phrase. When one player plays bad, that's a player's fault. When the team plays bad, it's the manager's fault. When multiple players play bad, it's the manager's fault. Now, whether you like them, that doesn't mean that we want them sacked. So I want you to get that out of your head. But it is okay. It is healthy for you to recognize that Eddie Howe is really screwing up with the formation. You can't do that. No manager. I understand what Tim is saying. You gotta adapt. Blah blah blah. I think the adaptation is to show in the game when things happen. When Barcelona scores 3 on you, so now you're gonna have to say, wait a minute. Let's stop going forward and let's not receive another goal. You know, that's the adaptation. But to me, you're gonna be changing every week depending on the team you play, and you think that's not gonna confuse our players.
Barcelona scored 2, by the way, not 3. And the only teams that
it was an example. There was
this season are Liverpool and Barcelona.
I was setting an example. I wasn't talking about that specific game. Regardless, you're gonna switch after it. You know what? I get it. Barcelona, yeah, right. Let's change to that, but we didn't. We didn't even change from Barcelona. We played the same we've been playing for the last 5 years. But you changed against Bournemouth, and you changed against Leeds. So I want to know the mindset. I want to know what really we are trying to do, because the changes you don't fear Barcelona, but you fear Leeds. I want to understand what he wants to do, because it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Something's got to give.
Yeah, I think with the formation, I wouldn't correlate necessarily the formation of the three centre backs with kind of fearing Bournemouth. I think a part of it is wanting that control of the game. So it's not a basketball game like it has been in the past, back and forward. And I know, like you say, the possession wasn't all in our favour, but I just thought that, especially when you got the likes of Botman and Chow, who seemed very comfortable in the ball, to play it out and to get that control and step in the midfield, to get that control can then make the game less chaotic and obviously shut them out. And then, yes, we've got to do our stuff going forward. I think the problem is where, and the players deserve criticism, but if you want to criticise Howe, I think for me, like for Willock, for example, he was playing on the left, wasn't he? Part of that front three. And ultimately, he wasn't good enough. And I think we all agree he isn't good enough at the moment. It's up to him to try and prove himself again. And I think I said in the video, we need to just, for while he's here, we need to just use him now and again. If he plays crap, fine. But we have to rotate. And Jacob Ramsey would have played then if he was fit. So Willock wouldn't be in the pitch. So
yeah, there's no issue with Willock.
And he himself, I think, he would have offered more attacking threat and more attacking thrust in the final third in that position. Where you would criticise Howe is obviously Ramsey's injury record. So he wasn't playing, but you look at his record in the past. Is that injury that he's got against Leeds going to be, synonymous with his career here? Therefore, that is a blight on that purchase and on Eddie Howe for picking him. Or is he going to be fit for the majority of the season? And if he is fit for the majority of the season, he's a player who can make a difference potentially in that attacking third to create chances and offer a lot more than Willock offered. I think that's criticised Howe. That's where we went wrong in the final third. And when we had shots as well, obviously Murphy's played. Now, Murphy's a good player. Murphy's done it for us the last few years, but he didn't have his shooting boots on in that game. Even Tonali in the final third, he had one shot that it was a decent chance and it was straight. I think it was straight at the keeper over the bar. We just didn't have that edge in the final third. So I would blame the players for that. And I would blame Howe for, not blame Howe, but I think, Howe is ultimately responsible. He's the manager. But if you want to get the nitty gritty, we're having to play Willock because Ramsey's injured. So I would take it back to Ramsey needs to be fit for the majority of the season to kind of prove that signing right.
I agree with you 100%.
Clarify, Chris, I think the formation, I haven't got a problem necessarily with that game and that formation, because I just thought it was the final third and we still had the formation of a 3-4 up there. That doesn't change with the 4.
Yeah, but you don't you don't attack with having an extra center back. You don't attack. There
was times when both Burn
and
especially
you don't, when you make all those changes in the midfield, because you really only got Tonali working extra time with Lewis Miley and Joe Willock, who was absolutely, he wasn't there. And I don't criticize Eddie Howe for the Willock change, because he had no choice. But I do think, what was the need to take out Bruno for Miley? Honestly, because without Bruno, now you lose creativity completely.
But it's on Tonali and it's on Miley to step up. We have to allow these players the platform to come in and show their worth. We have to do
Tonali was fine. Tonali was fine. But what if Miley is not ready? It's not ready.
We have to find out. Honestly,
why couldn't? Yeah. Why couldn't you play him against Bradford City and rest everybody for a whole week?
I think he will play against Bradford.
But maybe he's not Bruno, or maybe Barcelona again.
Miley and Willock will both play against Bradford.
We know by Bruno's Instagram story that he wanted to play. So,
by your interpretation of it.
Yeah, he just said he wanted to play inside that his streak ended at 68 games. But yeah, that doesn't mean that, I guess.
I would have played Lewis Hall in more games before now, just to touch upon that, Chris. Like, I know he's had a serious injury and we have to be careful, but I would have, say for against Barcelona, I would have put Lewis Hall on from the bench to give him those minutes in his legs. So when he does start against Bournemouth, he is a bit more, he has more edge to his game. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to throwing him in to start with against Bournemouth for his first appearance, if you like. So that's why I would criticise Howe in terms of, selection. I think ideally Lewis Hall would have had more minutes before now, so he could have been a bit more effective in that game against Bournemouth when he starts.
So Eddie Howe here on the Daily Mail. I don't know when this probably was in the post-match press conference that we're going to try to bring you on as soon as possible. Of course, try to stay on after the matches, watching here, so we can provide that for you after every game. He said this. Eddie Howe recognizes that replacing Isak with Voltemade, two strikers with very different styles, will not be a quick transition. First of all, I want to know how different are they? How different are they? Yeah, Voltemade is not as fast dribbling with the ball than Isak. Other than that, what's the difference? I've seen Voltemade shoot from outside the box. I've seen him be clinical in the box. I've seen him. I think he's a better header than Isak is. Stronger, bigger. So what are we? How does having Voltemade and not Isak change your entire setup? Because Eddie Howe is asking for time. He says here, so just naturally, we will be a different team attacking, a different team without Alex. We will be attacking with a different emphasis. Nick was very effective here with his footwork and link play. He sees some lovely passes. We just need to know and get used to him and his playing style more. We need to get more runners off him because he's very good in that respect. I'm hopeful we're evolving to a different team. Hopefully a better team. That is the plan, but it may take a bit of time. It may take a bit of time. To me, that sounds like, we probably got some not so good performances ahead of us. I think Eddie Howe. I think again we got to do a show today. Win. I don't know if you realize that, but we're live right now. We got to do a show right now. So I don't know what you want me to tell you. We're gonna have a show in the future. No worries. But right now we got to talk about what we saw. I mean, I don't understand
talk
the
about
dooming.
What we saw wasn't good, but what it was another clean sheet away from home, making 4 out of 5 in the Prem this season.
But when on the other side of that coin, we've scored 4 goals this season.
That's right.
4 in 6 games.
Absolutely right.
Not good enough.
Not good enough. So you can't use the defence as an excuse for the attack. The whole point is we need to be. You bought Voltemade. You need to give him the people around him to play to get the best out of him. Now, if they dropped him against Bournemouth and played him against Barcelona, I would have said that's fine. But the way Eddie's went about it is he's played Voltemade against Bournemouth, but not give him the attacking players to help him in that game. So basically, he sent him out with he sent him out a gun with no bullets.
I agree with you.
He agrees, but he's about to disagree.
Surprise.
He agrees and disagrees in the same sentence. I tell you, let's keep going with this article here. Voltemade had 4 touches in the Bournemouth box in the penalty area. Ron. No efforts on goal. He has scored only his only chance that he had, which is a header against Wolves. Probably one of the worst teams in the Premier League, who we beat 1-0. 1-0 at home. Right? And I think Ian Fleming brought this up in the chat. And when you said that earlier, let's make a deal. If we win every home game and draw every away game, we'll be all right. Who guarantees that? What are we talking? Last season we lost games at home that were unheard of. Bournemouth one of them.
We won games away that we went for.
So you agree with us? You got to go for games, right? How hard is that? You got to go for games. Because eventually you're going to have to play against what teams on paper are better teams, right? Chelsea, I'm not saying they are better. I'm saying they're tough. They're always going to be tough. Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, although they're rubbish, but still, you got to go out there and beat them. We've done it. We got it, but you still got to go out there. They're not. Those you would assume are going to be tougher. you really have to be careful with those games. And I understand that Bournemouth is a good team, but at some point, sometime in the league, you have to go get it. You have to go get points. So who are we waiting for to play against? Well, Leeds, we already know. Leeds, they just got promoted. We went there to defend ourselves. So who are we ever?
We didn't have a striker against Leeds.
It didn't matter. You didn't create anything for the striker to score. Just like the Bournemouth game.
Because he set the team up to defend.
Same thing with Bournemouth.
Correct.
Set the team up.
Why is he setting the team up?
We're not going to go forward like this, man.
I'm not. If you're asking me if I agree with it, I don't necessarily agree with it. But it's where we are right now.
Well, you do a really good job.
Eddie is right now.
I don't think he went into the game to defend. Like I say, I think you can get a bit fixated with kind of the formation equally.
But Tim, we didn't look at the stats. We didn't do anything in attack.
Because we were
tells you
exactly. I know, and Murphy was blunt. Willock was absolutely blunt. We couldn't create for Voltemada. Tino couldn't supply going down the right. Lewis Hall was hit and miss down the left. If those players who it's their job in that formation to get forward and support Waldemar and have numbers around the box, if they're not doing it, then we're going to be blunt, and they didn't do it, and they deserve obviously criticism for that. But I just think that I don't think we went to Bournemouth to get a point and to defend.
Let me ask you this though. So we know that Willock is horrific. Why does he not take him off at halftime? Because he's horrid. I mean, he's not like he did this one thing good. He's knackered. Why doesn't he just make it? If you say he's trying to win, and to be honest, it's all we're assuming here. But if he's trying to win, I would say he makes a halftime change, puts Barnes in to see what he can do, because he's trying to win the game. Why couldn't? Why do we always have to be with this same clockwork? It's changed in the 60th minute. Why not?
Yeah, I agree. I would have put Barnes on at half time, definitely. And he hasn't done it. He hasn't done well enough either in recent times. But Willock, he was struggling, and you would hope Barnes would bring a lot more. So I would have put Barnes on half time, personally, yeah. But I just think Eddie Howe, that is a criticism, and I think it's a valid criticism, that he is wedded to giving players more minutes in the second half to turn things around, their own performance around, whereas I do agree there's times where he just needs to bite the bullet and do it there and then at half time.
Yeah.
That's always been my criticism. One of my criticisms.
Can I ask us a quick question? From what you're seeing here, in that game, did Eddie go to Bournemouth to win the game, or did he go there not to lose?
When you look at what happened,
I
to me, it's simple.
He went definitely not to lose.
Oh man, that is crazy, man.
And is that good enough against Bournemouth? Should we be doing that, or should we be going out every game to win?
Sitting third in the league.
I just don't think it's that simple. Do you know what I mean? I just think Bournemouth are a very good side, and I don't think Eddie Howe's went there to get a point. Do you know what I mean? I think he's went there to win. He's chosen a formation that he thinks is the best balance between shutting them off and stopping it being a crazy game like it has been, like it is for a lot of teams who play Bournemouth under Iriola, who seems like an absolute top manager. Whoever gets him when he leaves Bournemouth in very good hands. And I think he's just picked a formation, have that balance where we can attack and we can shut them off and stop it being a chaotic game back and forward. Clearly, obviously, it didn't work because we weren't threatening enough, anywhere near enough going forward. And I think that my criticism is kind of what you said there, Chris, about half time. I think change it up then, at least with personnel at half time. So you're kind of giving a message to the players, okay, we've done okay defensively, we've shut them out. And I think setting off, we looked comfortable. We looked like the ones who, if anyone was going to do it, it would be us. But I agree that, half time, I think, should have been the time where we just be ruthless and put Barnes on, put somebody else on. So that is, I think, a valid criticism. But I just don't think it's as simple as we went there, 4 point.
Well, I agree that it's not as simple as saying I'm going to win now and we win. But you got to try. You got to try to do something. You got to try to do something. I mean, we are. I think that's the epiphany with Newcastle fans, because they're divided as ever about. We had it bad before, so we're doing all right. And they just wait and we'll wait and see. Wayne wants to have a show at Christmas. And there are other fans that are saying, we are a Champions League team now. We should be trying to win every single game that we go out there to play. So what we saw against Bournemouth, and because you're starting to see a pattern. It's not that you didn't play good against Bournemouth. You're starting to see a pattern. For some reason, away. For some reason, it looks like away we were doing this. I can't really remember Aston Villa, but we obviously, it was a 0-0. You could say we deserved to win. Maybe let's take a look at the stats, and see. But we're starting to see a pattern here. I'm not liking it, and that's. I mean, but maybe it's just maybe it's just an individual thing that I don't know. I don't like to lose at anything, and maybe my opinion comes. Maybe my opinion. Right. Maybe my opinion comes from that I don't really like the mentality of going out there not to lose. I think that's pretty. I think that's what, with all due respect, and it's tough because as Mighty Win say they are third, but they're not going to be third until the end of the season. So let's wake up and smell the coffee. Bournemouth. Let's forget Bournemouth. Let's go to the lower teams. Burnley. Those teams, they play not to lose, with all due respect, because of the capabilities that they have. They don't have the weapons that other teams have, right? They usually go not to lose, and they know that against the relegation teams is where they need to go and get their points to stay in the Premier League. But Newcastle United, I mean, I would hope that we are in a different place now in our history, where we can actually attempt to go to Bournemouth, to play against Bournemouth and try to win. I cannot be happy with a game like this. And listen, I would say the same thing if we won and played horrible. I would say it's not enough, because it isn't, because it's not sustainable. And I don't say this just about Newcastle United, by the way. I say the same thing about Liverpool when I talk about Liverpool. It's not sustainable. Yeah, they're top of the league, blah, blah, blah. But they're not playing good. They're getting results. And if I was a Liverpool fan, I'd say this shouldn't be the standard for my club. I'm saying that for Newcastle United. It's to me, this is not where I don't want to be doing. You think I want to be fighting all the time we win? No. But man, every game we have to go through it all the time. It feels like every start of the season, by the way. So maybe that's just a pattern, and we're going to get over it at some point. I don't know what you guys think.
It is a pattern. There's no doubt about that. History proves it's a pattern.
But we got to change exactly, Kim. We got to change the mentality, man. And it's not about, again. Let me say it again. It's not about being entitled and says we should go and we should beat Bournemouth easily, or we should beat them, or 3 points in the bag. No, that's not what I'm saying. But your conviction should be Newcastle United needs to go everywhere trying to win. That's not going to happen every time. But man, you need to try. You need to try. I could even agree with you if we did that against Barcelona, but we didn't. We didn't do it against Barcelona. We played the same old 4-3-3. If we had a striker, we probably could have beat them. Who knows? Maybe they scored their 2 goals and it would have been 2-2 or 3-2, whatever. But you can't say that. Where's the conviction there? We were scared of Bournemouth, but we're not scared of Barcelona. I'm lost in that. I don't understand it. But let me know what you think in the comment section below, and we're gonna get into some of your comments here. Win is quiet. He knows. I got to win. I'm sorry, Win. I apologize.
Yeah, I haven't got to win. I'm just like hearing the same old record over and over and over again.
And I'm giving you a sensible explanation, by the way. You want to go to the gutter, that's fine. But you're a proper knackered right now. Tim, you want to say something? Tim, you're my boy, but you can't defend. I mean, you can't defend this, man.
No, I do agree with you, Chris, that we need to have that mentality of wherever we go there to win. Like that is what we should be thinking as the club that we are, who have been in the Champions League twice in the last 3 years. And I think that mentality has kind of got us there as well, has helped got us there. I think we have had that mentality. And I agree, like we shouldn't be going to the likes of Bournemouth. But I say that again, the likes of Bournemouth. Bournemouth are a very good team, but we shouldn't be going anywhere and accepting a point, outside of a few select clubs where you think, okay, we'll take that. I just think it's not as clear cut into. I mean, the Leeds one I think is probably the more critical one, where I don't see why we had to go with the centre backs. I mean, we had no striker against Leeds, but I think we could have threw more bodies forward then because we had to compensate for having no striker. So I think then we needed to be more of an attacking threat against Leeds. But I think in this game, I just think it's not as clear cut that we went there just for a point. I'd like to think Eddie Howe didn't do that. I wouldn't want him to do that, and I don't agree with that if that's what he did. Absolutely not. But I just think it's not as clear cut. Like I said, we were let down by the attack and threat in the final third. I think we had the bodies there, we just didn't have the execution. And like we've said, Willock wasn't good enough. And Murphy, I think we all agree Murphy's a good player, but he was off. And Voltemada is trying to settle in, and he looked good, I think, at times. But
I don't have an issue with Voltemada. And Voltemada kept going to the midfield to get the ball, and I think that's a shame, man. It's a disgrace.
I think what I would have done actually is I would have had Trippier on, because there was times where Tino, he's a good athlete, but he gets in the final third, especially as wing back. He's higher up. His job is to support and overlap and be with the wingers, so you've got the numbers. And I just think sometimes Tino isn't the greatest technically in the final third, and sometimes he hesitates. Whereas if Trippier was there, I think he could have provided more quality in the final third and more first-time crosses for Voltemada and others. So I would have had him on earlier. Lewis Hall, I think Lewis Hall needs to play going forward, because he gives us that attacking edge and that quality.
But you're actually saying there, Tim, provide more crosses. But did you not see Voltemada shouting at his teammate?
You did.
Get it down.
Well, I mean, yeah, I agree. That's the dilemma, isn't it? I mean, when I say crosses, just some kind of final ball, whether it's to his feet or whether it's in the air. But that first time delivery, from that position in the final third, whereas Tino sometimes hangs onto the ball, and the move dies off, and they've got numbers back. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's where I would have put Trips in. Hall was hit and miss. Hall did some really good things down the left, but at times he gave it away sloppily. And I can't criticise him too much because he's only just came back. But I think Lewis Hall needs to play more minutes now going forward, because he can make a difference in the final third.
I agree with that. I don't think. And again, when the match started, I didn't think that was a. When some people talk, we're rotating the team. It feels like we're losing quality, but no losing quality whatsoever with Lewis Hall at all. I didn't think Livramento had a good game, or a game up to par with what he could do. He does have defensive mishaps, but it's not just about the attack really that lacked. I mean, I think that the midfield just couldn't, because Tonali's doing it. I mean, he has to do everything, because I don't think Lewis Miley right now is ready for it. I don't think he's ready to be thrown out there. If you need points, is what I'm saying. If you go against Bradford City, you're gonna get a minutes. You're gonna, you might see something, but I don't think he is, unfortunately, right now, a player that you trust a game that you really need points at this moment in time. He's still young, so. But Willock, we already know that train that ship has sailed a long time ago. So he's just using them because, as you said, Ramsey's not available, and there's nothing he can do about it. So that's why I thought if you put Bruno in there, maybe the quality, you wouldn't lose the quality too much, and you would be able to create for Voltemada and for the wingers, who I agree with you, Tim, that Murphy was not good at all. So we'll have to see. That's also another topic of discussion, by the way. Who's going to really, who's starting really? Ilanga or Murphy?
Well, I was hoping that Murphy's starting, because I quite like the idea of Murphy feeding Voltemada. because he put so many great balls in for Isak, 9 out of 10 of which were on the deck. You know, threading that ball through. But he just wasn't at the races on Saturday, as you know, which could be said about a few of the players.
By the way, breaking news.
And therein
Ousmane,
lies the problem. That if everybody's having stinkers,
breaking news.
there's little
Breaking
you can do about
news. Wait. Ousmane Dembele wins the Ballon d'Or. So congrats, I guess, to Ousmane Dembele, former Barcelona player, French guy, playing for PSG now. Certainly made a turnaround in his career because he was knackered at Barcelona with injuries left and right. So there you go. Maybe we can sign Dembele. Do you think he's coming?
Surprise, surprise. The European champions, the Champions League winners, provide the Ballon d'Or winner.
Would you? There you go. You see, it's the greatest tournament you could ever play, Mighty Win. So wake up and smell the coffee, man. We need Walter starting in the starting lineup, not damn Gordon to play center forward. Okay, now, man. That's another.
Pick a different subject.
Let's go with some comments here from people, because people in the chat, they are heated towards me, towards Win, towards Boki and Tim. Tim has no haters, man. Tim, he does well keeping it safe. He's just he's there. He does. He's dodgy. He's dodgy.
He's a good tightrope walker.
Steve here says Eddie needs to admit Waldemar is a big mistake. Can't run, can't press, can't win any headers. I disagree with that, man. I think the man tried to do everything he could to get. I mean, when your center forward has to come to the midfield to get the ball? I mean, it's not a good game. It's not a good game. And but hey, that's your opinion. Ricky D. Mourinho shout out performance at St. James's Park ain't coming. Hopefully not. Steve again. I see Win was moonlighting on the Bournemouth channel. Yeah, he forgot his duties here on this channel. And thank goodness for Tim and Bogi. But yeah, he's a cherry guy now. He wants to do content over there. So there you go. Where was the channel? Where were you at, man? Earlier on.
Up the cherries in all departments. It was their post-match review.
Yeah, post-match review. There you go. Check it out. Check out Mighty Wayne embarrassing us over there at Up the Cherries in all departments. RSL here says, if you play with effort, you did against, you have a chance. Against us, sorry. If you play with effort you did against us, you have a chance. Arsenal aren't all that. Well, he wants us to beat Arsenal, but I mean, maybe we will turn out for Arsenal, but that's the issue. You don't win. You don't get Champions League consistently by just beating the big teams. You got to beat the smaller teams too. You can't just put 5 at the back and be scared and play not to lose. Marco, Voltamata was frustrated. No runners at all. It has to be tactics, says Marco. Aaron Keith. And feel free to cut me off and say something about the comments that are coming in. Aaron says, Gordon, left wing for a start helps unlock Voltamata. Needs runners beyond him. Wissa is a big miss as well.
One thing I'd just say about that, Chris, is that I wouldn't be averse to Alanga being left wing at times with Murphy right.
I think he tried it against Barcelona, didn't he? No, not against Barcelona. Who was it? He tried it against somebody.
Right.
He put.
It rings
a bell. I can't remember who.
I mean, with Gordon, he's. I'm not sure if he's the answer, to be honest with you, long term. He's got to improve in my eyes. Is he all that, Gordon? And I think when he's back, he'll get his chances, and hopefully he does it. But I've got doubts. I've got reservations now about Gordon.
Mm. You're talking about even as a winger.
Yeah.
Oh wow! So it's a player overall. I actually agree with you. I don't think he's all that. I think mentally he lacks a lot. And but we shall see. We shall see. But that's the only option we got. He needs to get to
what he was a year past.
We need when he's back in position as well. He's not really his natural position for how many games now.
I agree.
Judge him when he's in that position.
All right. Once he's back in there, I suppose give him a run. And then, like you say, Borky, we can really give a final verdict, not final verdict, but we can really judge him properly.
But the man,
Barnes certainly isn't a replacement for him. Barnes has proven
not doing too well.
Nah, he's been rubbish for months now.
Yeah.
But the one person who would be a good replacement for him was snuffed out like a candle on Sunday. Semenyo, because he never had a kick on Sunday.
He didn't play good, no. But with Gordon, the mental game is a big deal with me because again, those red cards, those excessive. Remember the Carabao Cup miss as well. Important games, you can't be doing that, and that has nothing to do with playing center forward. It just got out of hand there. So Carl Hope says we don't even look like scoring. We
can't disagree with that.
And about time, he says we don't have the bloody time though to wait. Yeah, exactly. Because you keep waiting. Eddie Howe is saying that we need time. It might take time. By that time, you might be out of the Champions League. And again, another embarrassing performance.
Everybody was saying that in December last year.
What happened in the Champions League that we played 2 seasons ago? Knackered.
And that was the season when we were just riddled. Completely riddled.
You could have managed the game well, and you could have still maintained.
We played 10 games in 30 days.
If you it all came down to the Milan game at home. We didn't manage it well. Don't forget. Remember, we didn't manage the game well. We could have been in the Europa. We didn't even go for that. So there you go.
You went for the win to get in the Champions League.
We were already winning, man. What are you talking about? We were already winning. Remember that. I'm trying to remind you. Milan turned us over. Remember that?
They're now advocating, get a 1-0 lead and then just sit back.
Manage the game when you're winning, yeah. What do you mean now advocating? How can you correlate that to Bournemouth trying not to lose? It makes no sense, man. James Cuff here. Is it that big a shock that after losing one game of the best, losing one of the best strikers in the world, we're finding it a bit harder to score? This is a mountain out of molehill, to be honest, says James Cuff. There you go.
No, that's not right. The rest of the team should be scoring as well. Yes, we've lost Isak, but that doesn't give the rest of the team an excuse not to score.
But the rest of this, if you apart from the first season, you see the second season when we qualified 22-23, my favourite season, when we had 4 players all in double digits.
But exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Since Callum Wilson was completely crocked, there's only Isak scored any goals to speak of.
But that's what I'm saying. The rest of the team need to be chipping in with goals.
Yeah, well, I agree with you there.
So you can't put it down to the fact that we've just lost Isak, that we're not scoring goals.
Well, you can, because he was the only goal.
But he's not the only. He's not the only player that scored, though.
That's a big problem.
Yeah, you're striking. Your striker needs to score, but that doesn't mean that he's the only player allowed to score. I mean, somebody you gotta have to start scoring from somewhere. We don't even shoot. We don't even do none of that. So there you go. Mountain out of molehill, says James Cuff.
I think just with that comment,
yeah, go on.
Sorry, just I think the kind of point applies in regards to, like, there is a difference between Isak and Voltemera in that Voltemera, I think, from what I've seen, he does want to drop deeper than Isak, and he can provide more than Isak. So he does need those runners in behind, whoever that is, so that we've got bodies in the box with Voltemera dropping a bit deeper and linking the play. So I think it is kind of, we do have to adjust to that. It is different in that way. That is one of the changes we're having to cope with and kind of get used to. And maybe that isn't clicking yet. Maybe that's one of the problems where the players are so used to playing with Isak, where Isak makes runs in behind a lot of the time, and we can slide balls through for him. Whereas Voltemara's coming short, he wants it a feet, and he needs runners in behind him. So there's that. But then, like you all say, at the same time, you have got the likes of Barnes and Gordon who need to be contributing more goals, and they've had the chances this season. Certainly Barnes, and I've always been a big fan of Barnes, and I've always advocated for him to start, and he's let us down, because this season and at the end of last season, he has been blunt. And it is a bit weird because he's always been quite clinical in front of goal and had sort of good technique once he's in, but he seemed really off it, in the last few months when you condensed the 2 seasons. So it is up to him and the likes of Barnes. And, Murphy, I'll give him a pass. I think he had one bad game there, but he had a good game before. but also Elanga needs to contribute goals as well. It needs to be given games to do that, obviously, but all those players need to step up as well as Ramsey when he's back, and Tonali and Bruno.
But Tim, just picking you up on that point a little bit, all these players are international players, and all international teams play different formations or different styles than we do. So they should be able to adapt to a different style of striker quite quickly.
I agree.
It's not as if that they're stuck in just a Newcastle United mentality. They've got international football as well, where they play different styles. So the players should be able to adapt to another player quite quickly. There's no.
They should. Yeah, I agree, Borty. They should. I mean, it's just maybe just muscle memory when you're playing with those players on the pitch there and then. It's just maybe not clicking and it's going back to old ways. I don't know, but. Yeah. But I think whether they should or they shouldn't, I think it's an issue, that we are struggling to adapt potentially to that system and that difference and that different type of striker we have up front compared to what we had before.
Let's go with more comments here before we continue. We're going to do Twitter reacts, but Twitter's been funny, X now, so we're going to react to stuff like that here in just a minute. Gas is, we've just lost one of the best strikers in Europe. We shouldn't be surprised in the drop-off. It's a massive hole to fill. Doesn't matter who we brought in is not in. You're not replacing 26 goals a season. Well, we don't know. I mean, if you play, we'll see this season. But if you set yourself up to get him to score every, at least we should really do it. Who knows how many goals to score? The system did benefit Isak a lot, by the way. So we shall see, what he can do at Liverpool. Not looking as great, but obviously he's just got there. But it's not like Isak is over there looking really sharp. Ekitike is doing his thing. Isak is not really doing too well. But we shall see. The jury's still out. Tenji says, Wood Asula and now Voltamare are players Eddie Howe doesn't have a clue how to get the best out of. Eddie Howe only knows intensity, pressing, and pacey players. Interesting. Wood scoring, but Elanga made Wood look like prime Ronaldo, though. So, I mean, shouldn't Elanga be there to provide for Voltamare? Should Eddie make it? Elanga is my right wing, and let him do it. Murphy will help out, but somebody, maybe they need to know that. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. I'm not sure, but I would go for Elanga anytime. At this right now, anyway, I would, because if Murphy's so great, last season we were crying out for a right winger all season. So now we got one. We got to pick our poison. We got to pick our poison, and as I said, if somebody pushes the ball in, Gordon wasn't going to do that because he's not a good center forward. Elanga could have had 2 or 3 assists. So, I don't know. Waldo here says, Wizard won't change things. Our problems are the lack of creativity. It's all about pace and power with house teams. That's what Waldo says. Harpal says here, no triangles, no patterns of attacking play or movement. That's a coaching problem, whether we change formations or not. Interesting here. Kim telling me I'm right. I'm not surprised about that, Kim, but thank you very much indeed. Wynn's eyes are burning right now. Chris is right. It makes no sense. I do not get it. There you go. But I think I started a dodgy one for me, Wynn. So you feel happy. There you go. Gromit says typical Yank overreacting. So there you go. I'm overreacting. That's fine. Tactics Chris says Marco. He's getting them back to front. What does that mean? Oh, defense first, and then midfield.
The only thing I would say about the Yank comment is, of course, the one thing you don't have in America is draws.
What are you talking about? Draw like.
So according to your attitude, a draw is a shocking result.
No, not at all.
You don't have draws over there.
No, we do. Soccer here. We get draws. Yeah, I said, but I put Newcastle. See, I think Newcastle United are a really good team, a great team. You think we're a relegation team. So your expectations are, we need to go out there and not to lose.
No, you
against
seem
Bournemouth.
to think that we are a relegation team now, and we're not.
No, not at all. Actually, I ask and demand a team that goes out there and tries to win. That's what I demand. losing, and as I said it earlier on, but you choose not to hear it. Losing, drawing, winning, it is what it is, part of the game. But your attitude should never be given, should never be part of the game. You should always try to win every single week. And we didn't do that yesterday by your own admission, and you said that we went out there not to lose. So there you go. Got you on that one.
We are not going to prove
Does
that
it mean
we're
we
winners.
didn't go out there to win? But
The-
the first
look,
priority, the
Look,
first priority.
you
was
by
not
your
to
own
lose.
admission, you say we went out there not to lose, and you say it doesn't mean that we went out there not to win. Look, what are you
Exactly.
doing, man?
How
What-
can
it's-
both not be true?
Oh my God! Well, yeah. You know what? Go on, man. Marco, hey, stack to Chris. He's getting the back to front. Yeah, well, there you go. Joe Linton says Chris talking shite. Win speaking facts. There you go. That's fine. No problem at all. Tenji Vivid, let's remember we rested Walter Mata against Barcelona so he could start against Bournemouth. In what for? No desire to win the game. There you go, Win. No desire to win the game. But he has an issue with that.
No.
Of course.
What he's saying
But-
is what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
That-
Yeah,
that
well,
would-
you know,
would-
in that
we rested
in that case, we agree,
Valdemar
actually.
against Barcelona was because we wanted to win the game against Bournemouth.
In that case, actually, we agree because you agree with everybody, mate. Nobody knows what you're trying to say. You agree with everyone. So we're not sure what your stance is. By the way, was this, and let us know in the chat, was this a penalty, yes or not? What do you guys make of this one? It's been getting talked about, of course. The more I look at it, the more I don't think it's a penalty. And it annoys me because I truly believe it was. And
If
it
the
wasn't
referee
when
gives that as a penalty, there's no way VAR's overturning it.
Well, but also you can use that in the same argument that VAR didn't overturn this call. So what are you talking about? It doesn't really mean much. Do we think he really tugged on his shirt? Because tugs happen all the time.
And they shouldn't.
Yeah, but so you're not going to fix it. It's a football problem. It's not a rule problem, man. It's just he went down.
Because the rules are there that say you can't tug a shirt.
In the strictest sense, the rule, it is a penalty. But if you start giving them every week, we're going to have bloody...
If you start
Penalty
giving
after
them every
penalty,
week,
penalty.
bogey, they'll stop doing it.
But to be
Yeah,
fair,
well, you can
that
go-
hasn't pulled him down. He's went down because he's felt the tug. There is not enough in that to send Valdemar down.
It's not enough to send him down, but is he impeded? In that, has he felt that tug? Has he literally
As I
felt
say,
that?
100%. Technically it is a foul. But as I say, if you start giving them every week, and if VAR starts stepping in for them,
I would love to see it. I'd
Well,
love
the
to see
thing is,
penalties
right,
given for everything, because then they'll stop it happening.
Okay, well, we say that, but I mean,
Same
like
with
Foxy said in the chat,
corners
if that's
All
Win.
the pushing and shoving when corners come across.
But you can't get rid of that.
Penalty for the first push. You sharp say it's stopping.
You can't get rid of that though, man.
Yeah, exactly. And see, I just think there's too many variables, and this is the thing with VAR is that I understand them wanting to have a lower bar or higher bar, whichever way you put it, where there needs to be a very clear and obvious foul for VAR to intervene, and I can kind of understand why. I know what you're saying when, well, no, you want to encourage fair play and you want to stop the fouls from happening, but I just think it was getting too much. And there was too many times where they were looking at every little detail. And the fact is, in football, stuff happens for me. And yes, you win some, and you lose some sort of thing. And I just think there was over-analysis at times of VAR, and it was hurting the game. So I understand the kind of the method they have where it's got to be a Stonewall penalty. I mean, I would say, though, with that one, I just think, and I heard Andy as well, Andy Bell talking after the game, and he was saying the same thing in that, he was saying, look, you want it more than that for a penalty. He's gone to ground far too easily. And I agree he has, but I just think, you know what?
I don't see an issue with that, by the way.
There. It's not, I understand if he's put his hand on him, and he looks like he's pushed it. Okay, fair, that's too soft, but he's literally grabbed his shirt and pulled it back. I just think, that's probably a penalty.
Well, I do agree. The whole time I actually thought it was a penalty.
And we've got another Liverpool fan here, Gavin C. It works both ways. Your centre back should have had a second yellow and be sent off. Absolutely agree. But it doesn't work both ways, because if I ask you, what would you rather have, a penalty in the 50th minute or be down to 10 men, be playing 10 men in the 80th minute, which would you choose? Because I'm pretty sure you'd choose the penalty and then risk 10 men from 80 minutes onwards.
But is
So
this
this
not-
idea, this
Yeah, but it's
idea
still,
of
but
working
no,
both ways
But
is
you can't.
irrelevant.
No, it isn't irrelevant, because you can't have it both ways, man. If you're gonna be strict about the rule, then you have to be strict about the yellow card, second yellow card, and every single rule
but
out
I
there.
agree. I agree that Joe should have been sent off.
But it didn't happen against us, and we actually, I don't even know about Chow. I wasn't even paying attention. I guess I don't remember when he should have been sent off. I have to look at it again. I don't remember. But either way, I don't know. I mean, it's weird. The fact that somebody said in the chat, the fact that he's 6'7" and he goes down like that, it looks weird, and it looks like he might be trying to lie to the referee, and so the referee is going to say, "No, I'm not going to fall for it." You know, it's just optics, really. At the end of the day, is that fair? Probably not. But I mean, it's like it's like Dan Byrne going and tackling a little guy, and the little guy flies 20 times, you know, rolls over 20 times in the air and falls. It looks bad, you know. So I don't know. You can't take optics out of it. It's all perception.
But
And
is
you can
this
say VAR should have called in. I don't know. Maybe so.
But is this not, again, a point that VAR needs to change in regards to it not being up to them to investigate an issue? And I know me and Wayne have discussed this before, and we agree on it, that the bench should have two interventions in the game, or 2 or 3 interventions in the game each half, where they can
that could be.
ask for a decision
Challenge
to be looked
system.
at. Yep,
Well,
challenge.
that would probably fix most of it, but then you're going to
Fix it
start
all?
seeing. No, you won't, because it's still subjective. Because a referee will see, we see this in slow motion. By the way, it gets worse when you watch it over and over and over. It usually calls these types of fouls that you watch over and over and over. It looks less of a foul or an aggression, whatever it may be, unless you're really actually hitting somebody. It looks less than what it actually, you know, was. Maybe it was worse than before. And by watching it on repeat, it looks like it's not that big of a deal. So pay attention to that. But you're going to get into the fans that are not for the Americanizing. For some reason, it's become Americanizing of, you know, throwing the flag and timeout, watch. You know, people are not going to like that. It's never going to get voted in, man. I would agree that it would help a lot, though.
Talking about
when I heard about
Americans-
that,
Sorry, Craig.
go on, Bobby.
No, you go first, mate.
Cheers. Just when I heard about that, I wasn't sure about the challenges, but the more I think about it, I do actually think it'd be a good idea, and I think it could solve a lot of these issues. It'd take a compromise.
It would add a lot of drama to the game, boy. I'm telling you, it would add. No, I'm saying in a good way as far as watching the game. Like as soon as the manager calls for to watch, I mean the tension in the building. It would make it fun, to be honest. But I'm just an American saying that, so I don't know.
But you whack a button and it says Newcastle Challenge. Or you bench have a challenge, and then you whack.
You don't think that St. James's Park would scream? St. James's Park would scream as if it was a goal.
Yeah.
Man. So
But a quick question on the Americans taking over our game as well. What the hell is this thing with when we kickoffs, we're kicking into touch?
well, that's nothing to do with being American. That's Eddie Howe's
That's
tactic.
got to do with America, but it's
Honestly, I don't mind it. I honestly don't mind it.
It kind of
because the tactic is to get the ball, obviously, get the opposition penned in, get the ball down that end, and as long as you get up the field quick and stop them from taking it quickly, they have a decision to make, and they have to either try and take it short if they persist in playing it out. They'll take it short and still try and play their tiki-taka in their own half, in their box, at which point you can really press and catch them out. Or they have to take the throw-in down the line, at which point you've got a 50-50 chance of getting the ball back and winning that first ball or second ball. Do you know what I mean? I don't mind it because it goes back to the kind of principles of football that have been erased by tiki-taka in recent years, as opposed, getting the kick-off and just refusing to play a ball forward because you have to keep the ball from kick-off and you don't want to take any risks. No, I don't mind getting it forward, get it in the area, and let them make a decision as to where they go from
Figure it
there.
out. I like that. I'll tell you what. Let's how will Eddie Howe balance the Champions League and Premier League? That's the biggest question of this season. It hasn't been working out as of late, but we can hope that it might get better. The lads in BBC, was it the match of the day? Is that what the show where Theo Walcott was there? I think it might be that, but it's BBC anyway. Let's see what they had to say about this situation. Let's take a listen.
This is going to test Eddie Howe's management of a bigger squad, and I feel at times he's going to have to make a really difficult decision and leave someone out in big games. I think he's going to probably more focus on the Champions League, however. But is he the right manager to make that hard, tough decision when a player you expect to start won't start quite regularly? Because the connections, I feel, at times in their forward line is important. And if you're consistently changing it, it's a problem for the forward line to have those connections. They're not going to ever feed off each other. So for me, that's a difficult place to be.
But he's got so many options.
Oh, the different place to be, says Theo Walker there. We're going to get to Shay Given as well because he had something to say about Newcastle United. But, you know, we get into the situation where we're really not accustomed to being Champions League all the time. We're starting to do that now. But does Eddie Howe have to pick his poison? This is my best team. I'm going to play Champions League and Premier League for the vast majority of games with my best team, and then obviously the cups with a different team. You know, the difficult the games get, the more you start playing your better team. But as for right now against Bradford City, you should be able to really rest most. You should see Ramsdale, for example. If you don't, then I mean, what are we doing here? You know, you probably see Osula again. Although, you know, I mean, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but you need to. I think
this way, if Osula can't perform against Bradford City, then we know he's never going to perform. He's done it against Wimbledon and not Croydon. Who was it in the cup?
Bromley.
Bromley. So let's see him do it against Bradford City as well. Top of the tree they are at the minute, by the way.
One thing I would say is we're 6 games into the season, and as I say, we've all said he needs to rotate, which is right. But why did he why he's kind of took players out who are now going to have probably play this game, who are first team players?
Exactly. That's my point, Boki. That I don't agree with now, because now Bruno, if you don't play him minutes against Bradford City, who is probably makes no sense. Now you're going to have a player that hasn't played in a week and a half. You know, you need to keep them. You need to keep them playing. You need to rest them, but you also need to have that football fitness. So now you do that. It makes no sense to me. And now you're going to have to play Joe Linton, for example. Or you're not, or are we not?
It feels like we're arguing with ourselves because sort of we've said Eddie has to rotate the team, and now we're complaining because he has rotated the team. But the games that he's doing it in just don't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're saying like obviously you could have played Bruno against Bournemouth and then wait until the Bradford game and rest Bruno there.
Get a whole 7 days.
Yeah, I understand that. He's got the data, hasn't he? He's got the data in front of him as to how Bruno is and what his stats on. I don't know. It's a difficult one. I mean, like you said,
let me put this out to you then. If Eddie Howe thinks, man, would you accept this reasoning? By the way, Eddie Howe saying to him, to Mad Dog and his cronies, look, if we're up against Bradford City and they are for some reason winning 1-0, and we need to put in Bruno, we need to have him rested, or else he wouldn't get any rest, right? Do you think that would go in his mindset to say that what if the big what if that Man United have suffered from, that Bradford City goes up 1-0, and it's a shocker, but then you're gonna have to start. Then you're gonna have to put the whole arsenal in so you can win the game. Because if you don't, then you are knackered. Do you would you be okay with that reasoning, or would you say, I mean, if against Bradford City, I mean, what the hell? If we're going to be scared of Bradford City, it's an issue, which I'm kind of leaning towards. But I'm asking you now, you fellas, sensible, you and Tim and Bogey, and Win, of course, you're a happy clapper, so you're always going to agree with Eddie Howe. But what if Could Eddie Howe be thinking of the what if against Bradford City?
No. Pure and simple. Dead simple, no.
I think Eddie sometimes overthinks the game. He sometimes overthinks what in regards to player stats and everything like that. And I mean, I know Win and Gary go on about a lot of sort of stats about players, stats about this, stat. Sometimes as a manager, you've just got to play the team that you think's the best team. As long as the player's not injured, play who you think's going to win you the game, not play because of Excel or sort of any sort of stats that are out there. Just pick your team.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I would agree, Borty, in that I think sometimes stats become too much in football as opposed to using your eyes. I agree with that in a lot of aspects in the game. I think with the Bournemouth game and Bruno, honestly, I just think it was down to those players to do the business. And Bruno, I think, has been hit and miss as well. And it was 68 games in a row. And I'm not going to sit here and kind of criticize too much because I was asking for that. I wanted Bruno to be rested. And I think he should have been rested before now. So, I know what you're saying about, well, you got Bradford coming up, so why play him then? But I think the idea could be to play Bruno against Bradford because he played 68 games in a row, like I say. So he played Wednesday, Sunday, whatever, multiple times during that run. So I think he might well go back to that where he plays against Bradford and then plays again the weekends because he can do it. And he's had the rest, so he can't go full pelt again. I think that's probably the idea behind it. And I'm not really going to criticise that because we have to get used to rotating these players more, especially the likes of Bruno. And it might even improve him as well because I think playing that many games in a row, I think subconsciously you can get a bit complacent. So he needs to be in his toes a little bit.
But
and
if you cast your mind back, there's been a lot of those games when he hasn't been at his best, let's be honest. He hasn't been the Bruno that he can be.
Exactly. And we have to find out about Miley. Ultimately, we have to get an answer on him, and he needs games this season. So if it was Bournemouth away, it's Bournemouth away. And I know what you're saying, Chris, well, why not play him against Bradford? But we need to see what he can do in the Premier League. Mm-hmm. And he has got talent. He was brilliant when he came through, wasn't he? We're all raving about him. So we need to kind of see what he's about. And, he might well he might be good enough. He might do his stuff. And don't forget, he was alongside Tonali. Do you know what I mean? Like one of the best midfielders in the world. So it's not as if we just put him out there, on his own. So it was a chance for him. He didn't do absolutely crap, but he wasn't effective enough going forward. But we need to give him games to find out, and we can judge him at the end of the season. So I would play Bruno against Bradford's, sub him off when we're winning, and then play him again at the weekend.
Interesting stat there from Foxy. Bradford hammered Stoke away and Blackburn in the previous round, beat Middlesbrough pre-season. Currently, Middlesbrough top of the championship and Stoke second in the championship.
But so Bradford is somewhere around the top of the league, though. So
from what I'm seeing, Division 1.
All right, so one thing that surprised me...
But I didn't know they'd beaten the top team and second team in the championship.
Yeah, we'll see. Surprised me. Shay Given said it's worrying times for Newcastle. Interesting. Let's take a listen to Shay Given.
Obviously, he made 7 changes today. He's got to balance the Champions League and the Premier League. And again, it's a worrying time. He says we're evolving. We're going to be a different team this season. But again, as Theo rightly says, it'll test Eddie and his staff. Can they evolve quickly? Because they're falling behind in, I suppose, the race to get back in the Champions League.
But presumably what's non-negotiable is keeping a midfield... I know they changed the formation today, but keeping that the midfield three of Tonali and Bruno and Joe Linton.
Yeah, well, Bruno got left out and Joe Linton today, actually. In Bruno's first game, I think he's been on the bench for 60 or 70 games. So it was a big decision. But again, it's that balance. Thursday, Barcelona took a lot out of the players. And he rested 7 today, made 7 different changes. And you could argue it didn't work, but they've gone up the road by the point. Obviously, he made 7 changes today.
So not as worrying as the title mentioned there. Shay Given kind of playing in the middle, but at the end, closing with the mighty win in battered wife syndrome famous phrase, we got away with the point away. So that's it's a trophy in itself. for some folks. So anyway, by the way, the Mags member ballot is now open for upcoming home game against Fulham on Saturday, October 25th. So you can go and get your ticket if you're a member, Mag member, and of course are able to. I'm assuming season ticket holders, they're the ones that get everything, all the perks and everything in Newcastle United. So they start first, I guess. One thing, Wayne laughing because he knows it's right. He's everything for the season ticket holders, man. Everything. The proper fans like Tim, they got knackered once upon a time. Now they can't get back in, man. And Newcastle United Supporters Club is saying that Bradford has sold out their 4,900 allocation tickets. So they're going to be full. You can't park, or let me see, following the game on Wednesday, there will be no access to the St. James's Park car park on the Barrack Road via St. James's Park car. Why is it repeating that? Anyway, Barrack Road is not
Barrack Road.
There will be a short period following the final whistle, says this. Supporters who need to go north up Barrack Road can wait for a few minutes until the away fans have exited, or head down the crowd corridor, turn right on the Strawberry Place, then right again to go north up Barrack Road. So Bradford City coming in bunches, man.
Hang on. That's not for cars then. That's not what they're talking about there.
But it says following.
They're talking about the crowd.
Right, so following the game on the way.
Normally, if anybody comes out the ground, they can go out of that entrance on the top entrance on the Barrack Road. But they're saying here you can't if you're a spectator who wants to go north of the entrance on Barrack Road. You first of all got to go down onto Strawberry Place, then around and up Barrack Road.
And also for some fans that need water, just take a sip, man. Just take a sip. Because some of us voice is crackling, man. I win. Just drink water, man. You don't have to keep talking, man. It's not just drink some water, man. There you go. So there you go. That's news as far as that's concerned. By the way, what happened today back in 1992, fellas? Let's test your if you're a proper fan, you should know this.
Promotion season. About the 5th game of the season, would it be? So that would be maybe Bristol Rovers away.
Is that the goal that he scored?
So,
didn't count.
No, Tim. What happened in 1992?
Is it a goal that Rob Lee scored?
Oh, that was a good. Boki, proper fan.
Brentford.
I haven't got a clue. Rob Lee's debut.
There you go. And they both got it, man. And you win. You're supposed to be a proper fan, man. Well, he lost that a long time ago anyway. But on this day in NUFC history back in 1992.
I've got more seasons to remember than they've got.
Well, it don't matter, but that just tells you that you got a season ticket for no reason.
Well, it was
Boki and Tim should get it.
I told you it was promotion season. Say what's the date?
On this day in history for Newcastle United back in 1992,
so
Newcastle United
signed.
No, there wasn't his debut, by the way. We signed Rob Lee for £700,000, beating Middlesbrough for his signature. What the famous story was. You should know this.
Newcastle's nearer London than Middlesbrough.
There you go. From, what's that, Kevin Keegan, right? Yeah, Kevin Keegan said that. So there you go. Proper fan, Tim and Boki, proper fans, man. Good to have you on, of course. Not the bedwetters that don't know nothing. And by the way, me and Rob Lee, we know each other very well. We're just having a few pints, man. It's just not a big deal. We're just hanging around. Two Toon legends win. Toon legends in front of you there, mate. Hanging out, at the pub. This is in America, by the way. So, actually, funny enough, I got.
Oh, hey, look at that! I said Bristol Rovers, didn't I? I said it was Bristol.
What?
Bristol Rovers was the 5th of September. It's now the 22nd. And Bristol City was the 19th of September, which is almost 5 years to the date.
All right, ladies and gents, let me know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget, hit the like button right now. Come on, hit the like button. We're going to end with Twitter Reacts from the best from the weekend. So let us see what comes from Twitter. Murph here. What's that, Gordon? Oh, the first half be like, what happened? Is that Gordon? That's when he was in England, man. Come on, man. But that's right though. We were all knackered.
I think we were all knackered on last Thursday's show as well.
That was exactly. Chris Wolf, he says Newcastle are still yet to concede a goal on the road this season, and Howe's setup has frustrated Bournemouth game plan. Well, Bournemouth, he frustrated our game plan as well, but we didn't attack. So that's what Chris Wolf is saying. Let's see. Adam Clary says two fan bases. See, that's the two fan bases right here. One on the left says haven't scored a goal away from home all season, and the other one, the Happy Clappers, haven't conceded a goal away from home all season. So there you go. Two opinions divided.
What would you rather be? Would you rather be happy or miserable? I'll be happy all day. Thank you very much.
There you go. That's Adam Clary. What's it? Oh, that's Willock off, Barnes on. What's his name? That's the Crystal Palace manager.
Roy Hodgson.
Roy Hodgson. There you go. Old timer in the Premier League. Jord here says, I don't know what Eddie was thinking with that starting lineup. Crying emoji. Here you go. Vocal Hero says, does he intentionally go to the ground? Yes. That's exactly what many players and managers have emphasized that you should do to make the obvious shirt pull clear to the referee, well within his rights to do so, and it's a clear penalty according to Vocal Hero. There you go. So clear penalty for some. Voltamara going down. There you go. Charlie Bennett Sear says, well, that was a total non-event. Come on, man. What happened? What happened? These are not proper fans, man. What's going on here? Improper fans whinging about the game, man. They're not like you and your drunken fans at the pub. The true Geordie, he's probably American twat, saying Newcastle could have had prime Ronaldo up front and still not scored today. The lack of technical ability and courage to create in our midfield and out wide is staggering. Totally unacceptable for any Premier League side. He must be a Yank or something. He don't know the game, man. He don't know the game. So let's keep going forward there. Joe says, Cy Nichols puts set piece coach working wonders at NUFC. And the guy here says,
I started a comment actually about the set piece coach because he came with a glowing reputation, and I haven't seen anything yet.
The guy here says, we got a 6'4" plus players all over the pitch, but look absolutely shite at set pieces. Well, he's taking his time.
We've got all these big players and we don't threaten enough from set pieces. We don't win enough for some reason in the air.
Meme Castle says it's over. Mark safe from Newcastle versus Bournemouth today. So there you go. I guess they're marking themselves safe.
Mean? I don't know what that means.
I guess because they made it out alive from watching that. You get it? It's a new thing, Wayne. You're too old for this, man. Toon Loon says, think how has hit his limits at this club now. Ooh, whinging mighty win. But these guys are from Kazakhstan somewhere, man. They're not proper fans like you. Josh, good point on the road. Bournemouth is an easy place to go to, and another clean sheet on to Wednesday. There you go. That's a proper fan now. He must be from Gateshead. There's the lineup here. What's happening here? Taylor Payne says some rotation that speaks volumes that Tonali ran longer and harder than everyone on that pitch on Thursday and still started. Well, Tonali, without Tonali, we are proper knackered.
We are knackered.
Well, we'll see on Wednesday because you cannot play Tonali on Wednesday.
By the way,
we have to be offering Tonali a new contract.
That's true.
There's no doubt about that.
If we don't, then we're in another Isak situation at the end of this summer. In that there's going to be so many teams in for him.
Yeah,
will be knackered because.
And yet, as I was saying to Gary the other day, Tonali's reputation nationally in the press and everywhere, is so much lower than it should be.
But we can't wait until people wake up to give him a new contract.
Because
it is. Well, first of all, it is weird because everybody's got a midfield.
The point is, whilst it is, that's why we should be offering him it right now till people.
Yeah, true. But everybody's
got their eyes and say how good he is.
Everybody's really got a good midfielder. Like a proper midfielder Now, when something happens, an injury or somebody leaves, then that's going to be an issue. So we got to make sure to secure that. Thomas here says, Waldemar is such a clever footballer. Almost every time it's passed to his feet, he offloads it. Let me see. Offloads it with one touch with the perfect weight and precision. Such a fun player. Interesting take on Waldemar. Mim Castle, sorry, Sandro, you don't play for Liverpool, so that foul on Waldemar won't be giving us a penalty, I'm afraid. There you go. The pool shirt.
Yeah.
You didn't get that one either, Win?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's the ref turning round to
Yeah.
Baltimore and saying, sorry, pull shirt, only Liverpool get them.
That's right. Sorry, folks. Win is a little slow to react to the jokes, man. It's 2025, though. Let's finish with the comments from this particular chat here, and we can move on. Iris says, oh, I get what you're trying to do, Chris. Taking a piss out of Win. No, never that, man. Never that. Gavin Fuller, we have a shocking refereeing since the start of last season, and if they were really that bad, half the calls should go our way, and it doesn't. Well, one thing
I try not to blame the referee for poor results.
I don't either. We shouldn't, unless it was really bad.
But I mean, some of those fouls that were getting called on Baltimore yesterday for just standing his ground were ridiculous.
Yeah, it was tough to watch. That's the thing. When you're big and tall, man, you just, unfortunately, they get away with just hacking you down all game long. Gavin Fuller, question: we have had shocking refereeing since last. Did we read this?
Yeah, we read that one.
Shamrock says, what are you talking about? A shirt pull is a foul. End of story. Penalty. Stop trying to trivialize it.
Yeah, I'll just say on that, Chris, I think my issue with that incident and with VAR in general is I think what VAR can do or was doing is that it was encouraging fouls just for pure contact. And sometimes the attacking player would initiate the contact and they would still look at it and still give a foul. Whereas with this, it's not just like a shoulder barge or it's not somebody initiating contact. Voldemort has literally had his shirt pulled, and it is soft, but that action is very black and white. So that's why I think it's a bit harsh that wasn't given.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I think it was a penalty. But I'm kind of, that's one of the first times ever in like 10 years probably that I contradicted myself. But I don't know. I'm looking at it. The more I look at it, the more I don't think it's a penalty. But I'm just gonna stay with the first memory. I thought it was a penalty, and just go with that. But I mean, it's hard.
It's clear and obvious error, isn't it?
Well, it's not clear and obvious.
Threshold, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's end then with this one here. Feel the Freedom, one of the best football content channels on YouTube. Watch it every day, even as a Liverpool fan. All the guests are great. Chris, Wynn, and Gary make a great team on here. Thank you very much. Boki, of course, coming all the time. Tim and Peter and the rest of the lads. Andy Bell, everybody working in it. Connor as well, giving me news top all the time. I appreciate that very much, and all of you out there. So anyway, we'll be back again tomorrow. Tomorrow midday show, and there will be the preview at midday. So tomorrow at 12 p.m. tune in for the preview with Gary and Mighty Win, and then we'll be live again with the panel at night.
We've got the presser at 9:10.
Oh, and the presser as well. That's going to be at 9:10 in the morning. So it's devastating for me, man. I'm knackered by that time, Boki. I'm proper knackered, man. That's 3 in the morning, boy. Lord have mercy. So anyway, I think Wayne and Gary are doing that one too. So I'll get some sleep until 5 in the morning. So not much, is it? But anyway, either way, thank you very much, all of you, for joining in. We will see you on the next one. It's 24/7 contact here at Newcastle United, NUFC Talk TV about Newcastle United. So stay tuned. We'll see you on the next one, folks. Take care. Have a good one.
Well, lads.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Right.